man, Excalibur Miniature War Games is back with another battle report. I got this great Sullust mat from the game store for 39 bucks, and I had to go use it. I only have one, so I can't do an 800-point game. We're back to skirmish, and I got two cool armies here. I've got the Empire at 500 points, and I've got the Shadow Collective at 500 points. Two great armies to throw down this awesome, awesome mat. So for the Empire, let's go through our guys over here. Vader, he's got his usual saber throw, force choke, and force reflexes. Two naked stormtroopers. We got Dewback Dan out there riding solo. He's got duck and cover and a flame rifle. And Boba Fett is also running naked. Nothing for him. Shadow Collective. We have one group of Mandalorians over here with Rook Cast, and they have jetpack rockets and situational awareness. And we have, of course, the Maul, who has his saber throw and force choke, and he's also carrying the dark saber, which allows him to be the commander of this unit. The Pikes are naked. This group is naked. This group is naked over here, and that's it. And we got 5 activations on both sides. Both sides coming in at 500 points. So I rolled this off, and I think it was blue player was the Shadow Collective, and red will be the Empire. We'll get them deployed and get this thing started. Let's do deployment real quick. We've got Maul setting up over here behind this big giant rock with the Pikes, who are naked, and we've got Rook Cast and her Mandalorians right next to him, always staying nearby for Maul to get that keyword to activate. Mandalorians over here and Mandalorians over there. Back over there, we've got Vader in the center with stormtroopers within 1 to 2 of him. They can use his courage value. The Dewback Dan is right in the middle, coming right down the alley, straight at you. And Boba Fett's way off on the flank there by himself, trying to get that, make use of that independent aim and dodge. So we'll see how that goes. Mission is going to be pretty simple. We're doing the battle lines. We're doing elimination, which you score a victory point by killing off units essentially. And War Weary, which means the courage value is range 1 for all of the trooper units and all those, you know how that goes. So that's that, and let's get this thing going. So round 1, what do we got? The Empire is going to go with the jetpack rockets for Boba Fett, and the Maul will be cautious with standing orders. Thinking here is with a short field like this, range 3 to 4, that jetpack rocket models, use it now and try to do some damage here the first round. So the orders, the orders want Maul gave it to the Pikes, and over here, obviously, Boba Fett got the order, and that's where we stand. So Boba Fett goes first for the Empire, and man, he hits hard. His move action, putting him up to there. He launches his jetpack rocket, the Z6, over at Rocast over there. He scored 3 crits. They blocked 1 of them. And Blast, of course, ignores cover. That range of 3-4 weapon. And he killed off 2 Mandalorians, man, right off the bat. And they had jetpack rockets. There's 2 less jetpack rockets you got to worry about later. And that will end Boba Fett's activation. So the Mandalorians activated next, went back to the stack. And, independent aim, obviously. 2 move actions, putting them up to here behind this rock and staring down Vader here. So we'll see what happens next round. So the Stormtroopers moved next. They were over here, did a move action, and just had line of sight, barely. Took a shot, did score 1 hit. It was blocked, but laid down a suppression on the Mandalorians, thus ending their activation. So next up, our Mandos that were back over here did a move action. They had independent aim, so they spent that to re-roll their dice, scoring a crit and a hit, and they didn't block it. So these Stormtroopers lost 2 guys and picked up a suppression, and that's where that activation stands. Empire activated next. So Vader did a move action, and a second move action. He's relentless. He can do an attack action after his move action. He threw a saber over at these Mandalorians. He did score 1, I think it was 2 hits. 1 was blocked for the cover 1 that suppression gave him, and they blocked it, got another suppression on that. He got a free dodge token from his force reflexes, and that's where that one kind of ended. So for Shadow Collective, Rook Cast took her lone Mandalorian left, and she moved up 1. They got a free aim from being within range 1 to 2 of Maul, and of course the aim came from independent aim. The dodge came from the retinue keyword because she is within range 1 to 2 of Maul. As those came from, they went ahead and launched an attack. They failed their rally step, by the way. Over at Boba Fett with their carbines, range 3. They did score with the rerolls. They got a crit and 2 hits. Maul's out there in the open field. He blocked 2, took up a wound, and gained a suppression. And that's where she will end. So Dewback Dan does not spur. He was close enough with 2 move actions to put into here. And with his range 1 with that flamethrower, was his range 1 of the Mandalorians. He sprayed him with it, adding extra dice to his dice pool. Now, the suppression they already had kind of helped him a little bit with the cover 1 there. But even with that being said, he did score 1 wound going through on them, laying down another suppression, and this one was dead. So Dewback Dan just flamethrower these guys to death. So Shadow Collective up next. The Maul activates, going back to the stack. He does 2 moves, jumping over this thing, landing there. 3rd action, giving himself a dodge token. So back to the Empire. They did a move action from here, all the way from over there. 2 moves, ending their activation. Finally, to activate for this round was the Pikes, and they decided to do double move action, double time it up here, and didn't get to use their independent dodge because they were issued orders, and that's where I stand. So round 2, we got Empire going with a Pip 1 card, Implacable. Basically, Vader has the option of putting his thing back in the order pool if he wants to, and of course, Discretion for the Shadow Collective. Now, tricky card, but basically what Maul did was he can give 3 orders out. He chose to give 1 order out to himself, and instead the other orders he didn't issue, units at range 1 to 3, I believe, can get dodge tokens. So he got a dodge token, and they got a dodge token, and that's how that one went for the command phase. And Vader, of course, gave 1 to himself. So Empire, with its first activation of round 2, they drew to the stack. They drew out Dewback Dan. Well, he went ahead and moved movement 1, which put him base-to-base contact with these guys, which after a move action gets a free attack action, which he did. He used his melee, his claws, and his shock prod. He did great, and with the conversions, he got his dice box over here. He got 2 crits and 4 hits, which is awesome. And the Mandalorians unbelievably blocked every single one of them. So they'll get some extra suppression, but wow. So Dewback Dan with the ultimate whiff of the century. That just shocks me. With his remaining action, just give himself a dodge token and just hope for the best. So Shadow Collective wastes no time. Maul goes ahead, I think he did 2 move actions to put him in base to base with Boba Fett, and that Joyo Mastery gets an attack action as his 3rd action. He did really well with the rolls and the adjustments for having the dark saber, but Impervious helped out, definitely helped out Boba Fett there. So he only took 1 wound out of all that. And of course, losing these 2 because of the pierce on Maul and the dark saber. So yeah, so just 1 wound, additional wound goes on Boba Fett, and that's how it ends. Empire, it's on the board next. Vader decided to do a double move action, putting him here in range 1 of those pikes. He force choked 1 of them to death, then threw a saber throw at the rest of them. He did score 2 hits and a crit on the roll with those 3 red dice, which is great. They had a dodge token to spend, which they got from earlier in the round, to block 1 of the hits, and then they rolled a blocked 1 hit on their dice. So another hit, the crit goes through, killing another one, and suppression goes down, and that will end Vader's turn. So Mandalorians activated next for the Shadow Collective. They were back, did a move action, putting them into base-to-base combat, base-to-base with Dewback Dan. They were going to dogpile the Dewback. So with their melee attack, they scored 2 wounds was the final, but they did score... well, Dewback Dan had dodge token. He spent that and cast out 1 of the wounds, or one of the armor took care of the dodge, but they rolled 4 crits, so that dodge couldn't be spent for the crits. And then he blocked, I think it was, he blocked, what, 2 of them? Yeah, he blocked 2 of those 4 crits, so he did take the 2 wounds on that, and that's kind of where we went. They also spent their aim token for independent aim on that, and that's kind of where we sit right now. So Empire activated these stormtroopers over here. They were over there. They moved, took a pot shot at the pikes over there, but they totally whiffed on their roll. They got absolutely nothing. So nothing happens to the pikes, and that is where we will end that. So Rook cast went again, or she went, it was her activation. She went down here, jumped up here, was in range 4 of the troopers way over there, decided jetpack rocket them, which she did. And she scored 2 hits without re-rolling. They didn't block it, so that killed off the 2 stormtroopers and exhausted their jetpack rockets. So they got the independent. They got the independent aim. The dodge came from being retinue with Maul. They were just in range 2 of them to start their activation, and of course that dodge came from the card earlier during the command phase, and that's kind of where we ended. So Empire's up next. These stormtroopers were over here. A move action and a dodge token was their 2 actions, leaving them right there, hiding from the main battle, which is over here. So our other group of Mandalorians, only 2 of them, who are dogpiling up here on the Dewback, they failed their rally steps, so they only got 1. They are suppressed. They only got 1 action. They attacked. Of course, they had the free aim token from independent aim, which they spent, and they did score 2 hits and 2 crits. 1 hit was blocked because of the dodge token the Dewback had, and also 1 because of armor. But the 2 went through, the 2 crits, and he blocked 1 of them, resulting in an additional wound being thrown down on the Dewback. And that will finally end the dog pile over here. And that's it. So Big Bad Boba Fett activates next for the Empire. He has an independent aim, which gave him 1 of those. He is melee with Maul. He took another aim token for his first action. Then he has Arsenal 2. So he did use his melee attack on Maul, which totally got blocked completely. And then he went ahead with Versatile with his wrist rocket. These guys were just in range too. He did shoot it up there at them, and they blocked it easily without even using the dodge tokens. But he did get a suppression on them, so that's where Boba Fett ends. So the Pikes were last activated for the Shadow Collective this round. They were over there. They did 2 move actions, putting them over here, and they failed their rally step, and they're going to hide out behind this rock and run away from Vader. By the way, that dodge token came from his force reflexes at the end of his last activation. He took on a wound to put his, per the card, to put his token back into the stack. So Vader was able to pull that second, from the stack again. He only gets to, he took a wound on to do that ability this turn. He only gets 1 action though. So he already had the dodge from his force reflexes. He just did a move action. He's relentless. He gets to do an attack action after that for free. So he just threw his saber up. But these guys, it didn't go so well. They had 2 dodge tokens, which took care of that. And of course, they blocked the other one. But he did lay down a suppression on him, so I guess it wasn't a total loss. But he's thinking to himself, man, I took a wound on just for that? What a waste. So round 3 of this epic shootout. Well, Empire goes with the whipcord launcher, Pip 1. And Maul counters with, it is Ploy, Pip 1. Now Maul with the Dark Saber does break the ties, so initiative will go to the Shadow Collective, and we'll hit this thing out. So obviously Boba Fett gets the order token over there, and nobody on the board, but we can look at this one later if we want to. And I'll explain more about that later as the round goes on. Let's do it. So Shadow Collective activated first, went to the stack, pulled out the Super Mandalorian Commandos. This 3 group here engaged with Dewback Dan, went first, attacking with their melee attack. They got a free aim, and, well, because of independent aim. And how did it go? Well, let's see, the armor cancels out that 1 hit over there. They don't surge to hit. They got 2 crits and a hit go through. Dewback Dan blocked 2, took on a wound, and they will probably give themselves a dodge token for their last action. A little razzle-dazzle on Boba Fett's part. He was engaged here with Maul, used the whipcord launcher, which allowed him to get a free action and drop his immobilized tokens down on Maul. Once that happened, he was allowed to, per the card, do a move action even while he's engaged. So he's putting him over there at the move action, and he fired up here at Rook Cast and her crony, and he did score with the adjustments, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2 crits and 2 hits. There was their roll with Impervious. They just blocked 2 of them. Of course, he does have Pierce 1, which took out this one. So they blocked 1 of those. So the 3 hits wasn't enough to kill them. Rook had 2 wounds, and of course this one had 1 wound. They are now dead. So up next, this group of Mandalorians over here, there's only 2 of them in that group. They did activate on the Dewback Dan dog pile over here. They failed their rally step, so they have 2 suppression, which means, first, they are suppressed. They got 1 action. They had a free aim token. They decided to go ahead and hit Dewback Dan as best they could with their 4 black dice. They got 3 hits, but lost 1 because of the armor. He blocked 1, resulting in 1 wound, and Dewback Dan is down to 5 wounds now. So, yeah, he's in bad shape. So, Dewback Dan valiantly fighting off 2 squads of Mandalorians single-handedly. Whips out the old flamethrower and decides to go and blast these guys over here. He did score. He got 1 wound, killing one of them. And that's kind of how it ended. He's probably going to die here probably next round. But we'll see what happens. Yeah. So Maul activates next. He was immobilized. He's got 2 tokens on him, take his speed down to 0. He won't remove those at the end of his activation, so he's kind of hamstrung. He gave himself an aim token, a dodge token, and threw a saber at the guy that did it to him in desperation, Boba Fett. Maul did go ahead and get a crit and 2 hits. Unfortunately for him, he has Boba Fett had rolled. He gets 2 extra dice for being impervious. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks. So even with the Pierce 2, taking these away, he still blocked all of them. He took her on suppression, and that's kind of how the Maul will end that one. So our cowardly stormtroopers are going to stay over here behind this giant rock until the dodge token, and I guess a standby, and they'll just kind of sit there at the end of activation. So Shadow Collective, well, they're kind of running out of guys here. They left their pikes back here with a dodge token, and they're just going to kind of hide out and probably do a standby, I guess. This unit was lost, or this Rook Cast unit. It would have been them. They're done, so they're out. So Vader activated next, man. 2 move actions puts him right there. He would love to throw his saber at these Mandalorians, but he can't. They're engaged with the Dewback, or that big Dewback dog pile we've got going on over there. So what he does instead is he is in range. He did force choke one of the Mandalorians to death. And that's kind of what he will end his activation with. So last activation for round 3. Our stormtroopers are over here. Double move action puts them behind this big rock. They're going to hide it out, hopefully, so they don't get killed. Round 4, anybody's game. So Master of Evil for the Empire. And we're going with His Eminence from Mr. Maul. And so Sarah Collective has the initiative. Orders went out to Vader, Dewback Dan, and some stormtroopers over here. Maul gave it to himself. That's all he can really do. And we're started for round 4. So going back to the stack, our Mandalorian that was engaged with Dewback Dan, he decided to disengage, spending both of his move actions. Speed 1 move puts him right there, and he does get his independent aim, which doesn't really do him much good. But anyways, we'll give it to him in a second. So Vader activates next. Now the first thing he did was he was actually over here initially, a little bit over here. He force choked one of these guys that were engaged in the melee over here. He moved a little bit to there, still in range 2 of that Mandalorian, through the saber with Pierce. Was it Pierce 3? That's even with impervious, man. He still killed him. And he also had the Master of Evil card, which dropped down 3 suppression on both these guys. Well, he's dead. To kind of a moot point. And now he's got 1 action left. He'll probably just move again this way. So going back to the stack, the Shadow Empire here, they drew out the last Mandalorian they had in the field. Now he's in kind of a difficult position. He had those 3 surges. He rallied off one of them, but he's still suppressed. Only 1 action. He had the independent. He shouldn't even have that dodge. He had that from independent aim. He decided to take his 1 action and just take a shot at the Dewback because that's all he really can do. Even with the reroll, he did score a hit, but the armor just blocked it. And yeah, that's kind of where he is right now. So Boba Fett goes ahead, does his move up here, jumps up there. He does take a shot down here, kills both these guys. He has Arsenal 2, so he had 4 black dice to work with, and with his free aim he gets from independent, he got boom. And they only blocked one of them, so it wasn't enough. They had no suppression tokens on them already to activate Danger Sense. So no help about, they are dead. Thus ending Boba Fett's activation. Well, Maul in desperation does 2 moves, putting him up to there. He throws his saber at his dark saber at Boba Fett. He just scored for suppression, but Boba Fett blocked all of them, and that's where that will end his activation. So Shadow Collective is, yeah, they're in bad shape. Dewback Dan will activate for the Empire. He's going to try and take this guy out finally. So Dewback Dan gave himself an aim token, and he used his cattle prod to try to kill this Mandalorian. He did score, I think it was, a crit and 2 hits, which was great, but the Mandalorian blocked all 3 of them. So he laid down an extra suppression on for suppressive, and that's kind of where that kind of ended. So the Shadow Collective is out of activations. The Empire does have 2 of these guys left to go. I pulled this from the stack just now. They're just gonna, I mean, it's the end of the round. They'll just both stay here. Flip, that's it. So that's the end of round 4. All right, round 5. New ways to motivate them, and we've got the old aggression. So once again, Shadow Collective will get the initiative because of Maul's dark saber and breaks all ties. So Vader, order for him. Maul gave himself an order, and I think that was Vader, and Vader gave one to himself and to Boba Fett, and Maul gave one to himself, and he gave one to his lone Mandalorian over here. So with initiative, Shadow Collective, or lone Mandalorian over here, decided to, he gave himself a name token. He had the dodge from his, it's not independent, it's a, what did they get that for? It's, defend 1, yes. So when they're issued an order during the command phase, they get a dodge token. He gave himself the aim, took a shot. Even with the reroll, this guy had blanks on both. So, and the reroll too. So that was how that ended. Nothing. Total whiff on Dewback Dan. So the Empire's going to run the clock out here, and Boba Fett decides not to engage Maul, which is what he wants. He used both move actions to move way out here. He failed his rally step, so that's still there. And that's kind of how that kind of goes. So Maul burns 2 move actions to get into base to base, and with his 3rd action, he just takes a swing at Vader with a dark saber. He does land with the surge to crit, or surge to crit on that, right? Yeah, that's gonna be 2 crits and 3 hits, 5 hits total. Vader blocks 2 of them. Doesn't have any dodge tokens, so no deflect is triggered. Pierce can't be used against Vader, so Vader will take 3 wounds. So Vader's at this thing right now. He gives himself an aim token, and he takes a swat at Maul. He did do well with the roll. With the re-roll, he got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hits. Maul blocked 4 of them. Pierce can't be used against Maul. He's immune to it. Scored a wound on him. That's about where it kind of ends. So Dewback Dan activates again. He decides to give himself an aim token and take a shot with the cattle prod and the claws at the Mandalorian. With the re-roll, he does pretty good. He did score, he used a dodge token to block that one. He did get 1, 2, 3, get like 3 hits and 3 crits and 2 hits, but the Mandalorian blocked like all of them, so his suppression gets laid down, and that's about it. And our cowardly stormtroopers are going to continue to hide back behind this giant rock and just pray that they can survive. Well, I didn't think it was going around 6, but apparently it is, because really, it's not really technically over yet. So Empire's going with these Pip 2 Flame Projector for Boba Fett, and Witch Magic for Maul, which I think he gets to remove some wounds. Yep, up to 2, and Boba Fett gets access to the flame thing, whatever that is. So Fett got the order for the Empire, and as you know, Maul got the order for Shadow. Fett will go first, and he's going to go over here. I think take out this Mandalorian in hand-to-hand combat. Help out Dewback Dan. So Boba Fett comes over here, move action, puts him in base-to-base contact. His second action was to use the flames and also his boot spikes, and I gave him 3 red dice. Unfortunately, he did score the hits. He got, 3 hits on that? And the Mandalorian, once again, blocked all 3. So this Mandalorian is basically impossible to kill. So Maul winds up. He goes ahead and takes a shot at the Vader there. He gets a surge to crit with that dark saber, giving him 2 hits and 2 crits. Vader only blocked 2 of them. Pierce is not used against Vader. He's immune to it. So 2 wounds on the Vader, and that's the end of Maul's. He gives off a dodge with the other action. So we're gonna call this. The only chance they have is if Maul somehow killed Vader. I probably should give him an aim token instead of a dodge token. I don't think it would have mattered. He still would have had to score 2 more wounds on him. I don't think he would have gotten it. We're close though. This Mandalorian here is like this guy is impossible to kill. Dewback Dan survived the game. I thought for sure he'd die off sooner, but Vader did come over to bail him out earlier. These guys were in hiding the entire game, but that's okay because they will prevent the Shadow from killing them, thus scoring points for the Shadow Collective. As it boils out here, basically it's going to be 2 let's see, 1, 2, 3, Empire 3, Shadow Collective, nothing. Wasn't expecting to rout by the Empire, but on a short map, I think it just favors Vader, man. And Vader and Fett are a nice combination. Thanks for watching, guys. As always, I had a lot of fun doing this one. Great map. I love this Sullust map. And I'll see you later. Bye.